My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm super fantastico, puerco, and I'm doing really well. And on today's review, we are reviewing from the House of Creed, Oud Zarian. Do we have our bottles of Oud Zarian? Are we engaged with the high self? Let's get testing. This fragrance is £360 for 50ml, and for 100ml is £495. And personally speaking, when things are that high with that many exquisite raw materials, I get a little bit nervous. For that amount of money, you've really got to perform, and things have got to be really fantastic, and it's got to be all singing or dancing. So I get a little bit nervous of those situations. So it says it's a woody, amber, and spicy fragrance. It says embrace an oud fragrance line like no other with Oud Zarian, a rare treasure crowned with the most precious 80-year aged oud. That's a bit of a statement, isn't it? So the notes are bergamot, frankincense, ginger, spice accord. Heart notes are rose, centiflora. Base notes are 80-year aged oud, patchouli, sandalwood, myrrh, licorice root, and tonka bean. Do I have the energy to read this? I do not. So for every online fragrance order, Creed makes a donation to One Tree Planted to plant one tree. I love that. So my initial thing is they're saying 80-year-old oud, and they're saying they would love to plant a tree. But I would love a picture of the 80-year-old oud on here. If you're stating this contains this, and the whole fragrance is around this, I would love to see what this is. I'd really love to see it, and I'd love to see, I don't know, a bit more on that. That excites me. The rest of it does not excite me. That excites me when you're saying 80-year-old dude. I'd love more on the story of that. I'd also love to know who the perfumer was within this as well. That Frederick Marl do. I'd love that as well. I think it'd be really exciting. Licorice root, that's an unusual twist. Myrrh, sandalwood, I should love this. The price is up there, so I'm expecting it to, for that amount of money, for this amount of fragrance, I'm expecting it to really perform, and I'm expecting to blow everything out of the water. I'm expecting my hair to fall off with excitement. But God, I'm expecting everything. I'm actually quite excited for this. I love the way it says environmentally, one tree planted. That to me is a massive plus. Actually, I think that's so important as a fragrance line. Okay, so let's have a look at the atomizer. How I'm going to view things now is I'm going to spray one in the air, and that should give me an idea about sillage and volume. And then we're going to do a spray on myself as well, and that should give me a really good idea. On a plus, this cap is lovely, weighty metal. This is what I really expect for fragrances like this. I don't know what I feel about the color actually. It's kind of like a bit of a maroon. Anyway, let's apply the fragrance. I'm going to do one spray because for, what's it, nearly £400, 350, you really should apply one spray. So beautifully blended. A beautifully blended cacophony of notes within this. Absolutely can smell oud in the center of this, but it's so beautifully blended. I'd love to know what the percent was of oud as well, this 80-year-old oud. I'd love to know more about that. That to me as a perfumer is so interesting. So I'd love to see more on that story. So this definitely is a Middle Eastern interpretation of oud. This is not a Western interpretation of oud. This smells very much like amouage. This is not amouage work, but it's giving me that. This fragrance is base heavy. So I always think as perfumery as split into a third top, a third middle, and a third base. So I think of fragrances as a shape as well, and that's the geometry of the fragrance. So I think about, if you think citruses are generally kind of more at the top, trailing up to the bottom notes here, middle and top. Middle Eastern fragrances tend to be either square in nature or like a Mr. Blobby.
A famous actor visiting my home. I hope the neighbors are watching.
Or like that. So it's more at the base. And this is definitely at the base. And these are my favorite fragrances. This is spice-centric, but not spice in a Victorian cake. I love Victorian cakes. I'm watching Victorian cooking at the moment. Spicy, wood-like, The patchouli is giving darkness to this. The elmley is giving resin and ginger within this formula. This is so smooth, and the smoothness is the choice of musk, which is ethylene brathylate, which works beautifully within this formula. It has the building blocks of classic oud rose, but it's adding a gourmand aspect. It has ethyl maltol right in that formula, and that gives that burnt caramelized sugar combined with vanilla molecules and combined with coumarin has that beautiful gourmand smoky aspect. On to my final thoughts. In my head, you might have seen me thinking, do I like this? Do I not like it? Would I recommend it? What's it for? I think this really is a signature statement of a fragrance. It's not particularly voluminous because of how it's created, but this will give you longevity. This will give you substantiality. I love the velvet, vanilla aspect to it. It's so smooth. And that smoothness is very much the cornerstone of Middle Eastern perfumes. They always have a smooth, overly smooth, round. And that's why I said it's like Mr. Blobby. It's kind of like round, the geometry of this fragrance. I would have loved more on the, and I keep going on about it, I would love more on the story of the oud. I'd love to have seen the oud. I'd love to see where it came from. I'd love to see it harvested. I would love, you can't see it harvested, but I'd love to see the processing of it, how they found it, where this 80-year-old oud came from. I love more of that. If that really is the major selling point, I think you really have to stand up and say, I want to see more of this. That's the most interesting thing for me. Do I like it? I do like it very much. But I think it's so, you have to really like oud with this. You have to really like Middle Eastern perfumes. I don't think it's particularly for people who like modern interpretations of oud. Now, I'm going to give you an example of another brand in this. So if you like Tom Ford Oud Wood, the Oud Wood perfume, that I consider quintessential Western oud. So if you like that, you're absolutely not going to like this. If you like Amouage's interpretation of oud, which is Middle Eastern oud, you'll absolutely love this. My ouds tend to be Middle Eastern. They don't tend to be top heavy like the Tom Ford ouds, which are more suited to Western tastes. All of this is valid within the oud space. This is surprisingly vibrant on my skin. This is sillage of this is really beautiful. I love the ethyl maltol use of this because that's quite vibrant. It's got that burnt sugar. It's got that creme brulee aspect to it with vanilla and burnt sugar. And that's particularly delicious. I don't eat sweet things anymore, but I love smelling sweet things actually. This absolutely has creme brulee in the core. Now I've said that I can't really take away from that. So I'm going to summarize this. Oud, rose, creme brulee, spices and patchouli. Sounds absolutely delicious and it's quite delicious. The price, I mean, I'd love to know the amount of oud, and this is sort of really in my mind. For me, when I'm selling fragrance at that amount of money for 50 mil, it's got a minimum 5% oud, and I try and get up to 10% oud, which is so hard and so intense. That's really kind of what I want. And then you've got to wiggle around with performance. That's really difficult. So I'm marks an 8 out of 10. I think it's a beautiful work of art. I think the price is up there. I think it's a statement piece. Who do I think this is suitable for? I think this is unisex. I think this is oud-centric, so you have to like oud, have to like Middle Eastern interpretations of oud. You could wear this, I think it'd be really intense in the summer actually, but sometimes I like to wear heavier fragrances in the summer and apply less of it. And I gravitate to oud, I don't really gravitate towards anything else. So I think this is unisex. It's a signature scent, which means you can wear it sort of anywhere really. I wouldn't do sport with this, I think it would be ghastly. The most English thing I've ever said, ghastly. But I think this is for also good on a date, not suitable for the office, it's too strong, unless you work somewhere where it's okay to wear that sort of fragrance. So I think if it's for dates, I think if it's socializing, if it's a signature scent, I think it's great. The 2 marks are coming off, and this is going to be a weird one, because I would love to know more about the oud. And I think with this amount of money, you really should validate the oud independently. You really should sow the oud. And I want more of that oud story because that's kind of important, because I don't know the percentage of oud in it. I would love to know more about the oud. I'd love it independently validated. I'd love to know the percentage of oud. And in that, for this amount of money, it would get a 10. But because it's kind of just saying it, then I'm a little bit like, well, how much has it got in it? 0.01%, one drop in a swimming pool, 1%, 2%, 5%. And for this amount of money, if it was a £90 fragrance, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But for a £350 or £500 fragrance, I want to know the amount, I want to see the age, I want to see all of this, that and the other. I'm really surprised, actually. I thought this was going to be like a crap, chucking it in and never, or you're the Creed fans, just go after it. This is a worry as well for me, not a worry. This doesn't smell like the work. So if you love Creed, oh my God, you're gonna, you know, whatever. But I love it because it's so different to Creed. And my thing with Creed in the past is that it's not really for me. It's kind of very light, airy, beautiful perfumery, but this is more my style of perfumery. Dark, resinous, sensual, throbbing and dark. That's what I get with this. So I hope this is a new era of their perfumery because I was bored of the last lot. And I think this would be a really great, future. If it is, love the cap. Hope you love that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content. Lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance views. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.